Welcome back to your Semester 2 final exam review for Algebra 1. Today we're looking at problem 7, which comes from lesson 6.8 if you need to catch up on that or refresh your memory. We are looking at which graph below represents the equation y equals 3 times 1/2 to the x power. And I'll try to give you two different ways that you can come up with the answer. Let's go the more traditional route first. So we're going to look at the equation 3 times 1/2 to the x and dissect each part of it. Okay, this is in the form of a times b to the x power. And you can put b in the parentheses here. We need to realize that in this form, a is going to be your y-intercept. And you can always find your y-intercept by replacing x with 0. So we know it's a y-intercept of 3, which means here's a y-intercept of 3, 3, can't be C, and it can't be D. Alright, we're down to A and B. The next thing we need to realize is if this equation is growth or decay, and that comes from the growth rate. So we are growing at a rate of times 1/2 every time. And what we've learned in the past is that if this rate is, and I'm going to call the rate r, if r is between 0 and 1, then that means you're multiplying by a number like 1/2 or 0.1 or 0.9 or 2/3 that will cause your values to decay. So this is a graph that should show decay here. If r was greater than 1, like 2.5 or 3 or 10, that would show growth. Alright, well, which one of these two graphs that's left shows decay? Well, if you're starting at 3 on each of these and you multiply by the 1/2 over here, which one gets smaller? Well, certainly not B. The next value over here is 6. That looks like it's twice as large. Versus this next value over here looks like 1.5. That is half as large. And so we have to be A because we are multiplying by 1/2 every time. I did promise you a second way to do something, or to identify the graph, and the second way is really just a guess and check method. It involves just quickly making a table. And we're going to go through and check and see which points are on here. You can pick any values you want for x. I'm just going to pick a couple small ones like 0. If you replace the x with 0, and you do the math here, 3 times 1/2 to the 0th becomes 3 times 1, and you end up with 3. So we would look and say, which graph has the point 0, 3? And in fact, that's the y-intercept. That's what we did before. And so we can narrow it down to A and B again. But then, to keep narrowing it down, pick another value for x, like 1, and substitute it in. And if you do 3 times 1/2 to the first power on your calculator, you'll end up getting either 3/2 or, more likely, 1.5. And so we want to look at the point 1, 1.5. On the first graph, over 1 up 1.5 lands right on the graph. On the second one, over 1 up 1.5 doesn't land on the graph. And so looking at this, we can see since our points didn't line up, we must end with A. Thanks for tuning in, and good luck on that final.